Hello again. My guest this week is Vice-President of Federated Farmers New Zealand, William Rolleston. Welcome back to Rural Delivery.
It's very nice to be here, thanks Roger.
William, the rain has come at last.
I think farmers around the North Island and down the West Coast will be breathing a huge sigh of relief. I mean, this has been quite a major drought, and it's good that we're starting to see the end of it.
The big challenge in this case is that the drought was everywhere. There was nowhere to move stock to. There was nowhere to bring feed in from. A lot of people had to come together to work out complicated systems in that environment. That communication worked well?
One of the biggest issues was that we actually did have feed down in Canterbury, and Canterbury's blessed with a lot of water. We've got a lot of irrigation and water storage, and that's really meant that we could keep producing grass and feed, which needed to get up to the North Island. The big difficulty was actually with the transport and a bottleneck in transport. And Federated Farmers worked pretty hard to get that bottleneck cleared. And hay and straw did start moving, and we've made quite a number of shipments. Thanks actually to Bruce Wills, our president, who really led the charge on that.
There are some who say that we ought to expect more uncertainty in the weather, but either way, isn't farming really an enterprise where you should expect uncertainty every day?
Every day you are faced with those uncertainties and you have to cope with them. We have much better systems now. We know much more about how the grass is going to grow, what grass suits our particular areas, and we have better weather forecasting, and all those things help to make good decisions.
Are there any particular lessons that have been learned from this drought?
I think that the main lesson is probably around communication and making sure that we have our plans well forward. We're certainly working within Federated Farmers to build up a adverse events network, which will put planning in place for all sorts of adverse events, so that when those events happen we actually know exactly what we're going to have to do. And biosecurity is one of those adverse events.
In the middle of this drought, we got a report from the Office of the Auditor General suggesting that MPI still had some work to do in order to be as prepared as people expect it to be for a major pest or disease outbreak in New Zealand. What was Fed's interpretation of that report?
MPI have done certainly a lot of work, and the Auditor General pointed out a number of improvements that they had made around their information systems, around early detection and various other points. But she also mentioned that there is work that needs to be done. For some plans, that is disease incursion plans, they are in place and they appear that they'll work effectively and efficiently. But for some of the major incursions like foot and mouth, there still needs a lot of work to be done in terms of the planning and getting that working properly. It doesn't mean that we won't be able to respond, it's just that we could respond better.
I'm not sure this is a great revelation though, is it? I mean, MPI knows that these are plans that need continuous improvement as technologies come on or new threats are identified or otherwise. This is part of a continuum, isn't it? It
is, and one of the major things that the Auditor General did point out though was that because there's been such a churn in terms of restructuring, that it's been difficult for MAF and then MPI to actually get their systems honed to the degree they need to, because they're in a constant state of change. So I'm hoping that that the Ministry for Primary Industries is going to be around for some time, and the people in that ministry can actually get on with the job of what they need to do rather than restructuring all the time.
There's also a big role for industry to work alongside MPI. GIAs are a big part of that. How is that process going?
Now, the whole role of GIAs is that industry does get involved in biosecurity, incursion and response, and that they actually make some contribution. So when you've got skin in the game, you make slightly different decisions than when you don't have skin in the game. And I think that will provide a lot of clarity, not about the no-brainers, foot and mouth, we're always going to respond, but some of the other diseases where the economic cost is actually questionable. We have to really ask ourselves, is it worth putting resources into actually dealing with those particular incursions, or are we better to manage them?
William, thank you very much for coming in.
You're welcome. Thanks, Roger.
Now here's a little of what's on